everybody. Welcome. This is our first wealth building. What are you laughing at? This is what it's going to be like. So just be prepared. This is going to be what it's like. My mother making fun of me. That's great. So welcome to, this is our first wealth building session. So the intention is that this is something we'd like to continue to offer as training in the Market Center. And so we really appreciate some feedback after the session. So we're going to start off with a quote from Gary Keller, which is, a financially wealthy person is someone who has accumulated the financial wealth that provides the passive income to achieve their purpose in life without having to work. So wealth building or a wealthy person, that definition of what wealth is going to be different for everyone. So my definition of wealth is going to be different than yours and yours and yours, right? But this was a great quote that we actually had in bold, and it really resonated with the room as far as what wealth truly is. So Jess, I'm going to get you to flip to the next slide. So talk about today the path of money. So has anyone seen this before? Yes, Erin, I know Erin's seen it. Okay, so this is from this is part of the wealth building program that Keller Williams is now teaching and training. So this was something that Gary Keller actually devised, and what he wanted to do was make a more simplistic outline, because KW is all about models and systems. So a more simplistic outline of the path of money and how it flows, and the different avenues that you can invest, spend, hold, donate, etc. So you'll see at the top, you've got human capital and capital assets. So the idea is that human capital is, you're working to earn the money, whereas capital assets are, the asset is making you money. It's the difference there. So then you'll see it comes into your cash flow. So whether your assets making money or whether you are physically working to make the money, filters into the cash flow. And then you have 4 choices for the cash flow. You can spend, you can hold, you can donate, or you can invest. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today. So obviously spending is pretty obvious. It's outflow of money. Holding is that your money stays put. So if you're looking at your financials, that could be cash on hand. Then donate is obviously an outflow of money. So that would be like charitable donations, giving back. And then investing is an outflow of money that you're putting towards something with the intention to make a rate of return, so that you're going to get a rate of return on that investment. And then you'll see that there are 2 basic investment choices. So it's lend or own. Okay, so with the lending, then you're going to have your 2 basic positions, passive or active, within the 2. So with passive, your lending is money markets, CDs, bonds, T-bills, that's lending. And then owning would be stocks, REITs, mutual funds. So a REIT is a real estate investment trust. And then on the active side, your lending would be owners financing or private lending. So that would be where you are lending the money. Or the owning side of passive would be business or real estate, or in that case, your one of your common things you'll see is real estate investment properties on the real estate side as an active owning side. So this was devised, like I said, by Gary Keller to give us a more simplistic overview of the flow of money, and so that you can look at what makes sense for you and obviously, and which side you want to be on. So a lot of training around wealth building you'll hear in KW. There's a lot of talk about investing in real estate because we know real estate, you're in the market, right? All of that, how many doors you own, etc. That's one avenue. We're not going to necessarily focus on that avenue today. We're going to focus more on the other side today. That'll be something we can talk about in another session. Questions on that? So we're going to segue into what mom and dad have done and some of the things that have worked with wealth building from the other side. So can you guys start by talking about how your framework of wealth overall, your mindset around wealth, as far as if you were going to invest in something or buy something?
Well, now this is interesting. We should have practiced this. Because I don't have a clue. So I guess we're at the stage in our life where we don't take chances with our money, or we try not to. Everybody goes through it in a different, years and years ago. Yes, we would want to take more chances because we had more opportunity that if you didn't make money or you lost money, you had time to recoup that and get it back. That's not where we are right now. We're very conservative and investing very safely because we don't want that phone call to say your money has lost money. It cannot lose money because we don't have the time or the energy perhaps to gain it back. So is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go back further than that. We started out years ago, first by getting rid of any kind of debt. Right?
We did.
Right.
We did. That was.
And then we went about accumulating money, investing it.
We didn't feel it.
So can we circle back to that? So as kids, you taught us the importance of making sure that you didn't live beyond your means. And that if you were going to go buy the new car, you were going to go buy the new computer, you're going to go buy X, Y, or Z, that we weren't going out and creating a huge amount of debt for those purchases. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that's how I grew up. Okay, my mom was very, very conservative and we didn't have a lot of money, and Jerry's family didn't either. So we didn't grow up with money. So we had to learn always to just watch our pennies. So that's what we passed on to Melissa and Allie as they were growing up. So they never carried a credit card debt ever, right? They always had credit cards and even through university and everything like that, but they were taught to always pay those off, and that's what we always did. So the sooner you can get rid of your debt, the better. Your turn.
Well, you said it well. I mean, debt is a bad thing, and people that carry a lot of credit cards and pay 22-21% interest are throwing their money away. It's just ridiculous. I don't consider a mortgage that way. It's an entirely different thing. Even a car is something essential to your business. A car payment is not necessarily bad debt either, but credit cards with high interest rates are bad debt. And that's the first step to freedom, is to free yourself of that type of debt and then go from there.
So talk a little bit about, you talked a little bit about cars, but early on when you guys were growing your business, when, everybody always talks about the realtor always has the fanciest car. Remember the old Oldsmobile, right? So just elaborate a little bit on that. It doesn't necessarily mean, it's not necessarily the most advantageous to go out and buy the new car when you don't necessarily have the financial ability to do that, i.e. if you're talking a big car payment or debt, right? It might make more sense to pay off the vehicle and keep it rather than having to go out and get the newest, shiniest vehicle, right? And that was something that you guys followed
That's one
as
car
well.
we kept for 10 years, and you drove it for 5.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. brand new cars, I mean, they're fun, and we love buying brand new cars, of course, right, Lori? But when you, at the beginning, you find a secondhand, nice used car. You don't need to have a brand new vehicle. As soon as you drive it off the lot, guess what? It depreciates big time. So that's not the best use of your money. When you get to a certain stage and you want to buy your fancy new car, fine, that's great. That's a different level. But at the beginning, that one that you drove for how many years? That
A lot.
holy moly, you bought it from another realtor.
Yeah.
Terribly person.
Terry McPherson, yeah, years ago. So it's kind of what you have to do, right? You like be careful with your money. Right? And as Jerry said, or Melissa said, our cars went down to the kids. So this one went down to Melissa, the next one went down to Allie. And that was part of their growing up was, you have choices, we'll help you with university. You either stay home and you get a car, or you can live on residence, but you can't have both. And they both decided they liked to stay home because the food was better. And they got their,
True.
they had driving pretty nice little Infinities. They might have been older, but they were, Melissa's biggest problem is everybody still thought she was me.
It's true. Mom's car was so known, I couldn't get away with anything. Everybody knew her car in Fall River, so I just get waves constantly. I'm like, oh yes, hi, it's me.
That was pretty funny. So that was one thing that we always did. We didn't, we didn't trade cars every year. That's for darn sure.
So can I ask this?
Yes.
Try not to talk.
Stupid. We know you.
Yeah. And can you talk maybe about your early mindset and making these, because obviously these are conscious decisions that you made. But can you talk about, did you have goals? Like, was it, it's to be debt free and to have lots of savings that we knew that if we couldn't work, that we had money there? Your mindset when in your younger days, both of these.
For your age.
We had goals.
I can't swear on camera.
We knew we wanted to be financially independent. We did a lot of things right. We did a lot of things wrong too. We always had an exercise program. We always get up relatively early, a little myself a little earlier than you. That's okay. And we always worked out. We walked. We tried to stay healthy, and that was part of the energy that it took to do great things. We did some stupid things. One year we made $1 million with just two of us working, which was nuts. It's a wonder I didn't die. But we both died.
Well, I worked just as hard as you.
I remember that.
So those were wrong. That's no balance there. That's the wrong thing to do.
We learned from that, though.
We did.
We learned, wealth isn't always just about money, right?
Yeah.
You need to have your health and you need to have the balance between the two. And that takes time to learn and adjust what's working for you. Vacations were hugely important to us as a family.
And we went in when we were broke. We still went on vacation. Yeah.
Hey, we weren't that broke. We were a little bit broke. Yeah. We always, seeing your goal thing, that's right. We would set the goal for the year.
Mhm.
When we're going to go on vacation, we'd make sure we had that booked out, walked out,
Yep.
and that kind of thing. And we never let that slip. If we did have to erase it, you replaced it. Gary Keller always said that. So we made sure that those things were booked out because that was really, really important. Because you had to have that goal in order to work as hard as you did.
And Mom, sorry, Mom's more about the numbers. So she would always figure out if we wanted, if you wanted to do X many vacations, whether it was like the whole family and then a couple vacation, et cetera, you would work it backwards from the numbers to say, okay, well, here are what my expenses are. Here's what the vacations are going to cost. Here's what I need to do in income. Here's what I need to do in units sold or right. And you would work it backwards and say, okay, here's what we need to do this year.
Right.
Right. And then you
Well,
guys,
learn that in business planning.
and then, yes, and then you go and work at it.
I do find the reason I asked you, I think it's difficult for a lot of people that get in this business or you have a young family and it's like you're on the the hamster wheel, right? You're just trying to get the kids to school and you're trying to get your deal done. And so to try to think about long-term, I think, you know, when you feel like you have lots of time and it's, oh, well, I'm making lots of money, I'm just gonna spend lots of money, so I have the nice things, the nice car, the nice vacations. But that's why I asked about, because you've obviously done well, invested well, and have a fabulous brokerage, fabulous agent.
We do. We're very, very fortunate. We really are. We had really great advice. Financial advisors are important.
Mhm.
We had one really lousy one back, how many years ago was that?
Long time ago. There's-
He cost us a lot of money. We lost a lot of money with his advice. Slick was his name.
Slick, yeah.
So that's really, really important that you get advice from someone that you trust, somebody that you know somebody else has used.
Yeah.
Because that was a big one.
Catching up.
Yeah, we had to do a lot of catching up. So you had to work harder because you made a mistake. Not by any fault of ours, but by taking the advice of somebody that we just shouldn't have taken advice of. So that, I don't know.
Well, I would say that was probably early 2000, like maybe
20
late
years.
90s, early
Yeah,
2000.
I remember.
Yeah.
What else can I tell you?
So if you had a limited budget and you had enough money to either A, go to family reunion, or B, take a little vacation, which would you choose?
Could you combine the two?
Okay.
So go to family reunion, use your business expenses to get yourself there, a hotel, bringing that with you, not me, his wife. One or the other.
One might ask.
And so you've got your hotel rooms for that 4 or 5 days and your flight, right? And then add on your vacation to it.
Before or after?
Yeah.
Or after. We've done that numerous times.
Mhm.
It's a great opportunity. And it's a great opportunity to see a different place.
Right.
The last time we did LA, Mark joined us and we did tour around Napa Valley.
Yeah, we flew up from LA. Well, we flew right out of, actually, it was in Anaheim. The closest airport is John Wayne Airport.
Yeah.
And so we flew out of that because it was closer and cheaper than LAX. And we flew up from there to San Francisco, and then we did San Francisco and Napa. We were already there, right?
Yeah, so you're already there, so that's, I would do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And start saving for your family reunion at the beginning of the previous year.
I can also hold money off your
Erin
deals.
can hold money, she's a great resource. The other thing we used to do, and I just thought of this, is if we earned extra money from something, perhaps it was a referral that we didn't expect to get, or, but we put that in a separate account. So we didn't touch it. It wasn't our money. It wasn't our working money.
Yeah.
So we keep that as away.
Mhm.
So that would be our travel money. We had a travel account that we could, we took a lot of trips. We took a lot of family
Mhm.
vacations and a lot of, and we have a lot of kids too. We have six kids between us. Yeah. So, and they're all over the world. So we have to, we have to travel. We want to travel.
But early on, you were supporting 6 kids.
6 kids.
like
6
early on in your
universities, 6
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 Christmases, 6, yeah, a lot.
Mhm.
So we had to make money. You know, Brad, you have a lot of babies.
Yeah.
So you have to, and we did, we didn't do it everything correctly. We worked pretty darn hard sometimes, stupidly hard.
Yeah.
Right,
In those days, were spent incorrectly.
right. I wouldn't recommend that for young families if you could help it. But we didn't miss one dance recital.
Nope, you
And we
didn't.
Miss one basketball game or one soccer game, or, Jerry would come in a suit, and he'd sit on the floor of the, and then he'd head back off to work.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Took your father golfing, change that.
Yeah, he used to take my dad golf late in life. He used to go down to my mom's house and he'd change in the laundry room in his suit, put his golf gear on, take dad golfing for the 9 holes up pin high off Hens
Oh,
Plains
no.
Road, where it used to be, and then go back and change into his suit and go back to work. All the time.
Yeah.
Dad would be standing in the end of the driveway with this little golf bag, going, where's he coming? I said, he'll be here, don't you worry, he'll be here, I just don't know when.
That's lots of neat
So
stories.
those are good things that you do.
Dennis, question?
I just want to go back to the financial advisor, it just as a book. So there was a book called, or there is a book called Money Master the Game, but there's a shorter version. Same person, Tony Robbins, which is Unshakable.
Mhm.
Read that for anybody that's actually looking for a financial advisor first, and then go interview them. They're working for you, right? So go interview them. It's a great.
That's
Yeah.
great advice. Yeah, they, and you're right, they are working for you. We didn't think of it that way, right?
Yeah.
So now, and we actually have two. We didn't put all our eggs in one basket. We do have two financial advisors and we run things. If one wants to do us to do something, we'll run it by the other guy. So they both know. And they both talk and they share. And that helps a lot because then you're getting two expert opinions. Plus your accountant is a wealth of knowledge as well.
Yeah.
Not only that, but one advisor is not gonna want the other one to outdo them and outsmart them, so they're both gonna compete with
Exactly.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we have a question, if somebody wants us to do something, we've had a lot of people over the recent years call and want us to, invest in their business or,
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
buy them a
it's
truck so they could go do this. or
One
whatever.
of our agents, they wanted us to buy him a truck, buy the garage, keep the truck in it, and then all the equipment he needed to run the job, but he was gonna be the brains of the operation.
Didn't work out so well.
You wouldn't do
Go
good on
past
Shark
it.
Tank.
Right,
I was
no.
thinking it was a Shark Tank,
The same person we found asleep one day. in the office.
Don't say names now. And do you remember that man? He was quite wealthy in the day. And he called Jerry up one time to meet him in Fall River. And he wanted to borrow $100,000, was it $100,000, something like that? And
The collateral they were gonna use, his partner was on one of those protection.
witness protection, we were gonna get the witness
They're gonna
protection
sign over
money
the check.
as the payback. And he says, I don't think that's gonna go for that. I'm like, well, you can blame me on,
Yeah, you
no,
didn't do it.
no. Like, really, we're gonna get involved with the guy in witness protection? Are you kidding me?
So beware of the scheme
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
somewhere
a
all of
lot-
that
there are a
story.
lot of schemes. There are a
Yeah.
lot of schemes.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So what were your other avenues, like, obviously, like prior to Keller?
I know, and you're not gonna, and KW would hate our answer to this one,
I
and this
know.
is all my fault. We never invested in properties.
We
I was
was
too-
land.
I was too land, yeah.
Yeah.
Too, I didn't have it in me, because if you came and said, I can't pay my rent this month, I'd say, okay. And I knew it, I couldn't do it, it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
So you never thought of the option of like property management? Here you
Back
take
then,
care
there wasn't so much of that.
Yeah.
It's much more available now, but like back when we would have done that, you did it. right?
Yeah,
And I had my brother-in-law had done that. He got scammed 2 or 3 times where people would leave in the middle of the night. He did not know.
Pipes
would
froze.
freeze. We had Hell's Angels renting places.
Yes, Dad had to go
and-
serve one of the Hells Angels
and we
people an
couldn't-
eviction notice for a client.
And we couldn't
who
go
this-
out. So we
yeah.
had the nightmares were playing in my head and I was too, I didn't have enough risk tolerance to deal with
Yeah,
it.
that was it.
I didn't let them. So that is.
But you were
know,
very successful in other ways,
we-
right?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
We chose different. We chose
Yeah.
chose different
So,
avenues, like,
like REITs and stocks.
right now, if I was back in your age, you and Aaron, real estate, you're both in it, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a smart thing to do.
maybe you wouldn't be like me and not.
You're just gonna rent to
Not-
your
not-
brothers.
I wouldn't be able to-
Yeah, rent to the family member.
There's no way I'd be able to fix somebody, I just,
Well, Annette,
Aaron
success,
Yeah.
success leaves clues, and any successful people, you have to look at, like, you fail forward, you have to look at things that, you can say mistakes, but they're learning.
Exactly.
So you have, in order to be successful, I think you have to have the stories of getting taken advantage of by a financial advisor or
Yeah.
something like that, because if you don't take any risks,
Yeah.
how are you going to?
well, we get to the
succeed?
point that, we just, to our financial guys, it's like, can you sleep at night? Are you gonna be awake worrying about your money or
Mhm.
and if you have that kind of personality, then you need to be very much more low risk than somebody else who's like, oh, I'll make that next week, or I.
And we did some pretty smart things too, 15 years ago, or I don't know how many years ago, before it was legal to be incorporated.
Oh, Jerry, don't talk about that.
On video.
It's true.
But yes, to that
It is
point,
now.
to that point, yes, you were a trailblazer
That's
with the
right, he was a
incorporation.
trailblazer.
You were a trailblazer.
Yeah, we
So
hired
back before it was a
Oh,
thing that realtors could incorporate. You were incorporated. Jim
We
was
had
laughing
legal
back there.
advice.
You had legal advice,
Big,
you
big
did,
bucks for it.
and the accountant advised you.
Yeah.
But that was another avenue that really helped because,
That really
right?
helped us save a pile of money.
yeah,
So if you were to compare, like, so you chose not to go down the path of investing in real estate. Is there anything that you did do that you feel in your mind was in lieu of that? Like, we're not investing in real estate, but we are doing this, and what was it?
Yeah, we put our, we, once we found 2 financial advisors that we trusted, they invested for us and we listened to them.
Okay.
And they
Also
always
bought
made us.
brokerage.
Well, we brought, that was a scary one though,
Yeah.
Susan.
No,
to-
that's
to-
what I
to
mean,
buy
but it was,
KW.
again, it's taking the risk.
Because KW was nothing, I don't know how I did that, I don't know how.
that was very
I-
high risk for
It was
you.
very high
I was
risk.
gonna say,
for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You know, I was, we didn't know anything about KW, we went to Texas and we talked to everybody there and, we were with Remax and we had a lot of, I think we had 60 listings, which is unheard of right now, but we did have 60 listings out there. And we had 300 and some odd
And then-
thousand pending.
And that was between 2.
That was between the 2 of us, and we thought, okay, are we going to get our money from these closings? Number one, and how are we going to keep our 60 listings? We did it all wrong and would say you're bad, 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 bad. Which we know now, at that, we didn't
So I
know.
had 2 piles. I had to do the job, by the way, and of course, Eldon was away that day, so I had to sit there for 2 hours, wait for him to come. So I had 1 pile of amendments here, all signed by the sellers, transferring it away from Remax. And this pile here was for Eldon to sign and do it properly, and he did it properly. actually.
Yeah. So we met with, but we did it wrong. We did meet with all our clients and say, we can't tell you what we're doing, but we want you to stay with us. And they all but one said, yeah, we'll do whatever you want us to do. So they signed over their listing so that we could take it with us. And we did get paid all our money, which thank goodness, because we had to pay
So
for
you didn't
this.
do it wrong.
You didn't do
Yeah.
it
You
wrong.
didn't do
I
it
just,
wrong, okay.
it was just risk, and
We had to
you
take-
also would treat, that's a lesson that you learned, that's one of the things I appreciate about working with you, is that you would, if I decided to leave, you'd let me take my list.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You wish me all
Yeah.
the best.
We said that from day one when
Yeah.
we started KW,
Yeah.
that we'll never, ever, ever, ever. That's just not how we are.
Yeah.
And so you get ridiculous things and you get your pay, you get your
Yeah.
closings paid. And that's good business. That's just not, it's just the way it is. And also we said when we first started that you would get paid your commission check as soon as it came in. We would be
Yeah.
paying, like some companies pay you do closings once a week or once every 2 weeks. We said, no. I remember waiting, when we needed money, waiting, 2 weeks after closings to get paid. That's not fair. That's not right. It's your money. You earned it.
You already promised all the bill collectors. I'm gonna pay you.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, hey, because we all know there's been days when you're paycheck to paycheck and, you're waiting for that closing to come in and it comes in and now you're begging your brokerage to pay you. That's not right.
Dennis?
When should you, at what point would you start considering incorporating?
Your accountant or bookkeeper will advise you on that. If you're gonna spend all the money you earn, there's no point.
Yeah, so we're not accountants, disclaimer.
Yeah.
So that would be a question for your accountant. We have had accountants in to chat about that in the past. I don't know if that session was recorded.
Yeah.
Aaron said it is, okay. We plan to bring another accountant in the new year again, because this is a question that continues to evolve. But essentially, what Dad's saying is if you're going to need all of that income out of the corp, it doesn't make sense to incorporate because you're going to have the upfront legal costs and then accounting fees to incorporate. And then if you're going to take it all out, whether it's a dividend or salary, et cetera, then you're just going to be taxed at a higher rate anyway. So you're not getting the advantage of the corporate tax rate.
And a few years ago, the way it was explained from the accountants and everybody was, if you're earning, like, say, 100,000 a year or more, then it's a good time to incorporate, which is the wrong answer.
Mhm.
And, right, so that is definitely the right answer, because I incorporated and spent extra money every year on 2 licenses.
Taxes,
Yeah.
2 licenses.
Like yeah, all kinds of extra fees and really didn't see any benefit out of it. As I was spending everything I made and then some.
Yeah. So,
Any sense to.
yeah, so that's why, like, for each individual person, it's gonna be different. And that's why I like to assign like an arbitrary number, like 100,000 doesn't necessarily make sense.
I would say
Right.
100,000 is the number when you should start inquiring.
Yes,
into your-
asking the
That's right.
question.
Yeah.
And just a note, if you are thinking of doing that, the first step is talk to an accountant. The second step is talk to one of the brokers, because the commission, the real estate commission, is very specific on what your corporate name can be. It essentially needs to be Melissa Geddes Limited,
Yes, yeah.
right? So they will not allow, so if you've already incorporated for another business, we've had some agents who've done that, where they, they had another business that was incorporated and they wanted to just roll that in as their now real estate business, commission says no. So just be aware, before you go and spend the money to start that process, to register a name, you need to double check that the name is going to be allowable by the commission. And generally, the rule of thumb is it's just your name. Melissa Geddes Limited, done. And that's a separate license. So you have your approved sales corporation license with the NSREC, and then you have your individual license. So you'll pay 2 license fees, and then that approved sales corp license allows KW to pay your commissions directly to your corp.
Is there an exam associated with that?
No. No,
Just money.
no exam, just money, just money.
A lot of money. A lot of money to write INC act.
It's all on your heart, though. Then
Yeah.
you've got different taxes too, right? If
Yeah.
Your corporation pays your income
Corporate tax.
Corporate tax, and then your personal too, so there's.
2 tax bills.
What's the benefit? Tax corporate.
I can't remember
It's
now.
not,
It's like,
It's
yeah,
15% versus like 4.
No, no, no,
the
the
license
fee.
renewal,
Oh,
license
the
renewal
renewal is
each
the
year is
same,
almost
it's
the
the
same.
same as your, it
Double-
is.
double
It's
your-
just
what you
double.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just double it.
Susan?
2 of them.
So I want to go back to, again, because I know, I feel, because I feel like I've been with you now for 12 years and admiring you. I do think that you're quiet about it, but I do think you have goals and the vision. And so I look at this brokerage, like you said, it was a big step for you to do. That was a big risk, like, and you guys put all the money up front, and you had to find the space, and you had to find the people. And it has turned out well, because we are #1 profit sharing company in Canada, right? So I think there's a lot of advantages for us too, that we don't have to take all the risk that you took. And you are giving us the
A big risk.
opportunity to make passive income.
None of it would have worked, Susan, without a bunch of great people around us.
Right. And I think that's
Exactly.
what attracts people, but when I go back to, I just have to give you the respect and credit for taking the risk to do that and giving us all the option to take profit share.
Well, there's another
She's
stream
such
of
a
income,
sucker.
so she is.
Yeah.
I know that, I know I sound like that, I feel like it's
You
part of our
are.
story.
You're very genuine. So
That we, because you are very modest people and you don't often talk about it, and I just think there's a lot of, like, and again, I go back to, like, I know what I learned from becoming a broker, like, you learn about the trust account. What I don't think a lot of us in this office know, or in the industry know, like, this office has a trust account for our commissions. Like, that is a big deal. Like, Jerry and Annette aren't paying the rent out of our commissions. They are paying us our commissions and then paying the bills with money. That is not the case at all places. We're not all.
We've seen it in the
cut
newspaper
from the
before.
same-
Right,
Right.
right.
So
that long ago.
those things, sometimes I think we take for granted, that you get your check within, 24 hours that it arrives in the office. So I think, again, sorry.
So if you're risk adverse, this is a good place to be
Yes,
as an agent.
I just think, again, it goes back
And
to.
you
our
have,
story,
and you
don't
have
tell
another avenue of income, your
Yeah.
profit share. We are very, very, very careful about where the money goes. And, yes, we could have big splashy offices, we could have
don't know, labeled water in the office, I don't know. all this
Fancy
stuff.
and
We
fancy.
could- we could spend your money. We could, it's easy to do, it would be very easy to do,
Yeah.
but it'd be wrong. 'cause
And
it's
some
your money.
KW offices do that. Okay,
Yeah,
and
they're not
some do,
profitable.
they do.
And they're not profitable,
We've
that's
been
right.
to some KW offices, we're like, are you kidding me?
And these aren't shabby digs either. This is,
No,
Yes.
no, I mean, you know,
No, you just
But why
give
do
them
we
money.
care if you're profitable?
why do we care if we're profitable?
Yeah, why would I care?
You want your brokerage to be profitable, you want
Yeah, you want your
your
profit.
commissions to get paid.
I know the answer to that, I'm just,
I
like,
know you
I'm
are.
not even trying to put you on the spot, right? It's-
Yeah.
It's because when you're profitable, we are too.
You
that's
are.
right.
If
Exactly.
we're involved in profit
Mhm.
share. Which I think we
Exactly.
all are, we all should be, we all have the ability.
You all have,
That's
you all
right.
have the ability. You all have
Yeah.
the ability. It's a
Yeah.
great avenue of income. The 21st of the month is a fun day. Look at your bank account.
And it's
It makes
passive,
everything
it's
exciting.
passive
Passive.
income, right?
That, see there, Grant, that money that you get in your profit share account, you should have that separate. You
And I
should-
do.
You should
Yeah.
keep that and say, this is my fun money. This is
Yeah.
my money to take my family on vacation.
Well,
This is
tell
my
them
money."
what you bought with your profit share money.
I brought a little convertible, just like yours.
Yeah, that was
years
ago.
That was years ago. I
Yeah.
did buy a little convertible with my profit share money.
I
Yeah.
bought a convertible as well. Well, sort of,
And-
it's a side by side.
Yeah.
And
it
so-
is.
And you
A
just got-
country convertible.
Yeah, we just got a random license plate when we bought it. We didn't order anything special, but one day somebody from this office.
No, we had gone on a weekend to the valley and I had backed the car in. So we're sitting on the deck of this little Airbnb, having a glass of wine, and I looked and I went, holy shit, what's wrong? And I said, did you see my license plate? And he said, no. I said, look, it says FCP. He said, yeah. I said, from company profit. And he said, yeah. And then it said 873, which is the.
That's our market center number.
Random.
FCP,
That was-
FCP
you didn't
873.
choose that.
Well, I was like, holy, yes, I took pictures, I was sending Ron and Karen and everybody. It was like, you need to look at this. They were like, okay, have another glass of wine. That made me stop. It was crazy.
It was funny.
It was.
That's amazing.
But that's amazing, right? It's a secret.
Yeah.
Right. So it is your mindset.
Can you talk a bit about some of the things that you invested in? And like Susan asked about your mindset early on. So versus early on, starting out, building your wealth versus now, right? That was a whole journey. So talk about, what did you set a goal for RSPs before you incorporated? Did you
No, we weren't
invest
that
in
smart.
REITs?
We
and
just did
things like that?
whatever, whatever we didn't spend, if we could make ourselves not spend it, we would put it in we try to max out our RSPs. And if you can do that, you should, right? Because now we have them. We have them. and we
Well,
can-
actually, as the years went by, like probably 20 years ago, we decided to invest outside our RSPs because we didn't want that situation.
Yeah.
Because now, for instance, I have to take X amount of dollars out of our RSPs, but I don't have to touch my investments quitside. Yeah.
What else did we do? I don't remember.
You did real estate investment trusts
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we did that.
and mutual funds.
Yes,
Yep.
we did that.
All that stuff.
I know all this stuff. You stupid.
We have a very open dialogue, as you can tell.
Open book policy.
Yeah,
So I think
I
one-
guess our
one
biggest thing
thing-
is try to get your debt down.
yes.
It's really, really hard. I know it's really, really hard. But if you can get your debt down, that is huge, because then you have extra money. So take the smallest
So whether
loan
it's
or.
credit card or line of
whatever,
credit.
and Get rid of that one. And then whatever you use to get rid of that one, put it on the next one. And just really work on make that a focus for your year.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
He spoke at Family Reunion a few years
So-
ago. He was fantastic.
So our daughter was born in 2016, very quick story, 2016 she was born. She was born April 29. July, my wife bought a new vehicle to her. And September, she goes, we gotta sell it. I'm like, why? Well, this is stupid, we're just paying all this money on it. I'm like, what's happening? She's only driving 3 kilometers worth and back. It was a big truck, right? I'm like, okay, but why? She talked about this Dave Ramsey thing. So we had $80,000 in debt in 14 months. We paid it all.
Wow.
Now,
Awesome.
27 of it was that truck. So we got rid of the truck.
Yeah.
Took
Yeah.
the cash that we had from that, and then maxed with the last little bit of line of credit, buy a car, so it was cash. And then we did exactly what you guys just said. But his his 7 baby steps, $1,000 emergency fund starter. Number 2 is exactly what Nat just said, which is your smallest one first and snowball it. No financial advisor is gonna tell you that. They're gonna tell you take the highest interest.
Yeah.
Don't. Do the opposite, because
Yeah.
once you start getting those paid off, you start getting those feel goods.
You
Yeah,
feel good.
and you've
I got good
accomplished
one.
it,
You
right?
crossed that one off my list, right?
Yeah.
And then step 3 after that's done is get your 3 to 6 months emergency fund done.
Exactly.
And Aaron went through a really great exercise, one of the last monthly meetings where you take your credit card statement and start highlighting some of those recurring charges and going through it and saying like, if you don't know what it is, or you have to take a second to think about it, you really need to evaluate, is that a charge that I really need? Is that a service that I'm using that I'm getting the value out of? And start looking at cutting some of those things.
We did that
Right.
at the beginning of COVID.
We did.
Because we didn't know what was going to happen here. You can imagine the stress of this place
Yeah.
when COVID started. It was like, oh my Lord, our agent's gonna be all out of business. They're gonna need money. We're gonna have to help them. What are we gonna do? We've got overhead. We've got, oh my God, right? We were just
Mhm.
like, whoa, we didn't know, right? We didn't know.
Yeah.
So it was.
Well,
so
Gary
we
Keller
did-
was telling us to try to cut expenses like to 30%. So we just started going
We had
through
to. And we
the
were tight
financials.
already.
We were.
We were like, okay, what can we get rid of? We did it personally. We did it for the business.
Yeah.
And a lot of those things we didn't take back.
You can
Yeah.
imagine,
We didn't really miss
if
them. We
everything
didn't need
stopped,
them.
you can imagine what it would be like to run this office is about $1 million a year in expenses.
Yeah.
So if everything stopped, how long would a person last?
It's like, oh no, everything we had is
You don't
gonna be
wanna know.
gone. It's scary.
I think there's a common
But
denominator.
on the other piece to that too is that we follow the KW model, which is to have 3 months reserves in an account as well. And we do for KW, and that's the model they say to follow personally as well. If you can
And
have,
It's never been
if
touched.
you can
And
have
then
that
that's-
3-month reserve,
Is
for
it-
your
is it still called the
emergency.
Jerry account? Is it called the Melissa
it's the
account?
Melissa account now.
That's your emergency, that's your emergency.
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
That's right.
which is, you know,
And we
Yeah.
started it from, 12 years ago. We've never, ever had to touch it.
No, we
Correct.
increased it, actually.
We keep increasing it
Yeah.
because of course.
That's a great idea.
It's safety.
Yeah.
So it's safe, it's safe.
And if you think about it, that should last a long time because you're never gonna make no money, right? So
Yeah,
Exactly.
So I think there's a common denominator that I see in your wealth
Right.
building.
What's
And
that?
you wouldn't have been able to pay off the debt or invest the money or any of that stuff without the hard work.
We
Right?
have to work.
Yeah.
Because I've, sat for an hour with the OP meetings, right? And I know how hard you guys worked. Like, so there's no, I'm gonna take today and tomorrow off, and obviously you set your vacations, but maybe share a little bit of that, just a little tiny bit.
little tidbits.
Yeah.
Get out of bed. I always said that 5 o'clock, I was always
Speak your
Did you ever work Saturday and Sunday?
Ah.
You ever do open houses?
1 to 4 every Saturday and Sunday in Fall River Village.
yeah, you were at the
For
model
how
home.
long?
Everybody came in and get a piece of candy.
The candy was the hit.
It was
The candy was,
Paul's development.
Yeah,
right?
for
So,
years.
For
right?
Yeah.
years, and Jerry and Paul were good friends forever. And he would be at that model home every single Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 4.
So they were selling the lots or turnkey new construction.
And the homes of the people that bought lots.
Yeah.
So
It was a good
it worked.
thing, really.
It worked.
Yeah.
And then when Frank Medjuk, St. Andrews Village, was looking for somebody to run his operation, he called Paul. There we go.
Yeah.
Just one thing. That's one.
What
Yeah.
kind of candy did you have?
Paul even supplied candy.
Yes.
Usually
Oh,
Jelly
he
beans.
was-
Usually I get jelly beans,
really?
there were mints, there were like, yeah,
You guys would go down. all kinds of
lifesavers,
good
all
candy.
kinds, yeah.
But you're right, Grant. Many deals were signed on the roof of a car at 11 o'clock at night, 11 or so.
See,
Back
So in
then,
order to invest the money, you had to earn the money.
that's right.
yeah,
Right.
Correct.
you had to
And
work.
that's
And it
right.
wasn't, we know we have all the DocuSign and all that stuff now. We didn't have that. We had to go meet every single person, deals were done. Agents used to get midnight. Midnight was
Yes.
a deadline. Like, really? Why did we do that to each other? And we'd have to go and meet somebody at 11:30 at night.
In your pajamas.
Well, yeah, you changed.
You have to get out.
They did like.
You take your piece.
But people should get themselves on the schedule.
Yeah.
Get up whatever time suits you, like not, you don't have to go crazy and get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Get up at a decent hour and go for a walk, do some exercise, you know? It drives your brain. You just,
And like, and when we go back to you're paying down debt, the same thing that Dennis was saying, is come up with it like this Christmas, okay? Who are you buying for that you really don't need to be buying for? Right? Are you buying for your sisters and your brothers that they don't need your present and you don't need one for them? They'd probably be really, really happy if you called them up right now and said, you know what? Let's cut those gifts out right now. Like, really, I'm buying you a bottle of wine, you're buying me a bottle of, like, really? Let's go for lunch. Let's go for a walk. Let's just get together. Same with friends.
Mhm.
You know, instead of buying this, you know, what do you buy now? You're not gonna get anything for 20 or 30 bucks. So they don't probably need it. They don't care if you give them anything, a nice car to go for a walk in the park. You can eliminate a lot of that stuff. If you know, without yourself, to save yourself from going into bigger debt over Christmas.
Yeah.
The same with food. And at Costco, share your Costco membership with somebody else. Go and you buy your big monster thing of chicken and split it with your friend or your neighbor, as opposed to, you know, throwing out food. Save a lot of money by doing things like Think Smart.
Just split your Netflix.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
They're getting smarter on
You buy a gift, I think you still buy a gift card from Costco to give to somebody that doesn't have a Costco card, and then they can go spend whatever they want that day on anything.
Yeah.
Maybe just a $20 gift card.
Yeah.
You don't need the actual membership if you have the gift card.
See, that's perfect. Like little things like that make a huge difference.
Mhm.
And you call up, like, I bet you if you called up, some people say, you know what, we should just cut out Christmas gift buying this year for each other. Like, I mean, Erin, I know stresses so much. Is it your grandparents that you try and buy for? It's like every year, what are we gonna get them? You know what?
This year, we're giving them all homemade coupons that said, we'll cook you dinner.
Perfect.
Nice.
You know what? I was just like, you know, something like
That's
that.
smart.
Yeah.
But that's what they want too.
Of
They'd
course they
rather us
do.
go to their house and cook them dinner
Exactly.
than give them a blanket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, you know, it would save you
Yeah.
the stress and the running around and the money.
And now I'm not spending money just to spend money.
Exactly. And that's,
And then, like, I used to hear my grandmother, like, she'd dig through the drawers in her spare room dresser. I don't know why people keep giving me this stuff.
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
sheets for this bed and blankets for that bed. I don't need any of this stuff.
we did
Right,
that
so
when we
it's
had
true.
sold my parents' house and we're cleaning out something that said, oh, that, I gave that to mom 10 years ago, she never wore it. You're like, things that still,
Yeah.
like, really? They don't, right? So spending time
Yeah.
with people.
You could sneak in and get it and then just re-gift
Oh, we've done that.
Great way to save money,
it. Yeah.
honestly.
Melissa, I'd also say that, again, I still go back to, I think that the Murphys' values align a lot with Keller Williams, and I do believe that that's part of the success. Okay, I'll stop, that's my. But for everyone, I know, for everyone, I think, like, think like a CEO podcast.
Yes,
is an
it's
amazing
fantastic.
resource to listen to.
So,
Mark King also does
Yeah.
his Wealth Building 2.0 Facebook group.
yeah,
And you can go on KW Connect and you can watch Wealth Building Wednesdays.
You want to get to the point, well, like the quote at the very beginning. You want to, if you're going to continue to work, you continue to work because you want to continue to work, not
Yeah.
because you need to continue to work. Right? You don't
Yeah.
want to get to this old age and think, well, where am I going to get my next paycheck? Right? You want to just not worry about that. And when one of the kids calls and needs something, it's okay. It's not going to stress me out by giving them $1,000 here. Right? If I want to go buy my grandchildren, I want to buy them. Those parents have no say.
Slipperies.
So, yeah. What else can we say, Melissa?
Can I ask you, you said hiring a sleazy financial advisor was one of your biggest mistakes.
Yes.
What were your other big three?
Yeah. Big mistake.
We made the mistake of buying the wrong house once. This is way back when the house was in Bedford. And it was nice and big right at the end of the cul-de-sac. But we didn't do our research well enough and we were burning furniture in the fireplace to try and keep the house warm. It was the wrong house to buy. We didn't keep it very long.
electric
We
baseboard
made money
heat.
on it though.
We did make
We
money.
made money on every single house we ever built or bought.
But that was probably an incorrect purchase.
Yes.
I liked it. I liked what it was. punts.
Me
That's why
too.
we got it,
Yes,
because we liked it.
we love it, yeah.
Heat pumps existed back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So if
Yeah.
you were to think back, maybe waiting so long to join KW might have been.
I think the timing for us probably, you know what, Grant, we needed to change our mindset at that time. We were
Mm.
getting burnt out.
So I was
Tired.
60 at that time.
And Jerry was 60.
We even
and
thought about stopping work at
We
that
thought, you
time.
know
Yeah.
what, we're done, we're done.
Yeah.
Selling the house to somebody wasn't fun anymore, and we were done. And then this came along, it was like, it kind of turned your head around and said, oh, we can do this, it'll be something different, we'll still sell houses,
Yeah.
but we'll help other people grow.
And at that time I said I wanted to get in the business.
Yes, and Melissa didn't get in the business with us right away.
No, that was one of the things that you guys really pushed me on, because I
wanted
wanted to
to.
get in the business right out of university. And they wouldn't let me. They said, no. They
No.
said, you go do something else.
She needed to work for somebody and then we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're like, who could she work with that would be harder than working with us? Is there anybody?
But you, and then it was perfect, because then when.
The timing worked perfectly, because
Yeah.
as you guys were talking about opening KW and we were going through that whole process, and I said, I want to be part of it. So that the timing just, it
It
just
worked
all
well.
worked.
It
Yeah.
worked well.
Like I've talked to a lot of people over the years that spent like 10 years or 15 years in the business. And then it was a real eye opener when they joined KW for some reason, and I say some reason as in there are several different reasons and everybody had their own, right?
Yeah.
But I know I've heard that story lots of times. And it's not just plugging for KW and bragging about KW, but there's something, right? There's something about it that, and I know, like, I mean, I was only in the business 2 years when I joined, so I really didn't have much to go on personally, right, to compare.
We do, because we were with Central Guarantee back in the day, then we were with Prudential, not because we jumped around, but because the companies folded or changed hands, so Central Guarantee, Prudential, then Remax.
The Remax word.
Remax All-Star
Remax
before it became
All-Star,
Nova.
And then Remax Nova.
Yeah.
Did you ever do Exit? No.
No, they
They
were-
wanted us to buy
they
their
want us
franchise,
way back
and we
when.
researched it and said no. People Realty wanted us to
Sutton was the
buy
same.
them, and Sutton, they all approached us at one point.
If anybody's interested, I know of another franchise that's available for free for the right person.
Just say it.
Not interested?
So we did, yeah, we did research those companies when we, at their various points, and they just didn't align. It just didn't,
Yeah.
they didn't align. And, but KW did.
And that took 2 years for us to make that decision.
Mhm.
Did.
Because
So-
two exit guys approached you.
Yeah. Really. But we also, when we started back in the day, we were 2 families joining. So
Yeah.
that was a huge, we had to work hard. We had to work hard to make it work,
Mhm.
right? We're working together. We've got all these children. We've got exes. No, but that's a hard life that it doesn't always work, right?
Yeah.
So. What else? I don't even know.
And then tell everyone about, for Jerry's birthday.
Oh, yes.
Jerry doesn't have birthdays.
His surprise birthday.
Yes.
So that, well, it's, okay, so this is another reason why you work hard and try to invest and get maybe income properties or get your other stream of income. We use the profit share to take him on his 70th surprise birthday party.
And tell how many people that includes.
17. So 4 from Germany, 1, 2, 3, 4 from Montreal, and then us here, and he did not know.
It's kind of funny.
He was so mad going to the airport.
Yeah.
Where did you go? What'd
We
you
were in
do?
We
Florida.
did Cuba, all inclusive Cuba.
You had to go somewhere where there's no cars and stuff involved. The expense would have been just.
The
horrendous.
worst though was that Mom didn't want us to tell him because she wanted it to be a surprise. So he and I are out on listing appointments and he's like, he knew that they were going away, but he didn't know where, and he didn't know that the whole family was coming. So he'd be like, oh, Melissa will meet you next week. So I had to circle back to all the clients and say, Melissa won't meet you next week. Allison's gonna meet you next week, right, Hallie? And I was like, ah, and I'm sitting there going, like,
We had gone, they normally come to Florida with us at Christmas, and that was 2019.
Yeah, right before.
So they,
right
I
before COVID.
said, they're not coming this year, we're not going around. He was so mad, I want them to come. No, we're
Then I
going
wanted
around.
to stay.
And then we were coming back on the 10th, and he was then annoyed. Well, I don't understand why you have to go home. And I said, no, we're going home. I want to go home. I really miss Ethan. We need to go home. We go home, and then 2 days later, I said, the banks are still packed. We're heading to the airport. Who's coming with us? I said, nobody. Who's coming with us? You and I said,
Oh, I'm
somebody will
surprised.
come with us. Don't you worry. But we're going to the airport. We get to the airport. We've checked in and everything. Next thing you know, Ethan, who's 2, comes running and grabs him by the legs. And he's like, what? And I said, they're coming. Melissa and Mark and Allie and Jason and Ethan are coming.
Yeah.
And then about half an hour later, his daughter and partner show up. And it's like, and I said, that's it, because the rest are Montreal in Germany, there's no way. And then at midnight, the Montrealers arrived. So then in the morning, he said, I feel really bad that the 4 from Germany can't come.
Dennis and the
I
kids.
said, I know. Sorry. but
Too
then
hard.
it was just
We said
to
too
get
hard.
From Berlin to Cuba, like really too hard and way too much money. They understood. Well, they arrived, they were there at breakfast.
It was a big.
It was way too much money. But we had a wonderful time. And here's
What I'm hearing is how do you manage to fund all that? without
Right.
hypnosing?
exactly. Oh, that's not hard.
Yeah. But back to what Melissa said about who watches the numbers.
That's
Yeah.
right, right? And that was all.
And it was profit
It was profit share.
Yeah.
Profit share.
Mailbox money.
Mailbox money, yeah.
I just put it aside. I just said, there it is. And it just went aside every month. And I took his and put it aside too. And I didn't feel bad about it because it's his birthday.
She could use contribute.
We did that. And then we had one plan for this year. We were going to go to
We were gonna go to
Orlando with
Disney, yeah.
everybody, but COVID was
You
still.
went to an island this
We
year.
went to an island. We
Cape
went to
Breton
Cape Breton
Island.
Island. So instead of Orlando, because COVID was still pretty scary, we brought everybody to Cape Breton. So Germans and Montrealers. That's
That was good success.
Inverness, Orlando, same thing, right?
But, so in this year, we're going to Florida for Christmas, and we're all coming, and we're lucky enough that we can bring the 10-year-old from Montreal to Halifax on the plane with us to Florida for 2 weeks. And that her parents will allow it. So that's what you want to get to. That's, I guess, what I'm saying. You want to get to that stage so that if you want to spend time with those people, they don't necessarily have the funds at their stage in life with young kids and everything to be able to do that. So we can say, come with us, let's all go.
And that's more than the money, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, it's nice to have the money, but those are the memories. that
those are
you'll
your
have.
memories.
Yeah.
Right? But if we didn't do what we had done, we wouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Like, you know, I know lots of people, they need to sell their home in order to, you know, and because they need the money out of their house in order to live. Well, we don't, you know, do we need that big house? No, but when everybody arrives and comes, we need a big house because they're not gonna be under my feet all the time. They need a home.
So a lot of this is just compound, like what you guys have done is just the compounding interest you guys started when you were younger age.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
assuming part 2 is gonna be for those that are 40 plus that decide to
We
get a
say
late
younger
start.
age, but I'll tell you, and you won't mind me saying this, when Jerry was 40.
Yeah.
He had $0.
Yeah.
0.
And if you read any of the books about growing wealth, usually you don't start to do that till after 40, right?
Well, his favorite book, and I still have the copy of it too, is the Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah,
Right?
but that's how we started. I mean, we started with, we did,
That,
Yeah.
and an ex-wife and house and, like, we had a lot. So it's not that we started really early because
Yes.
that's.
Because when you combine families,
Mhm.
right? And yeah, you,
Sort of starting again
yeah,
Starting all over again,
on the,
Yeah.
but with older children.
I think what I was trying to get
Yeah.
at was that there's a perception when it comes to investing that if you don't start in your 20s and you do 30s, the amount of money, and all you see is the negative comments of what, pretty much on YouTube is why didn't you start if you had started when you were
Yes.
20, you would have had.
You would have
much
had
time
this,
to do it.
yes.
But because you started here, you lost all of this money, but.
And
so
then you
for
feel
guys to
badly because
say-
you didn't do it right. Right?
Makes
So,
me very
"Oh,
anxious
Yes.
as a
everybody in
26
this room though
Yeah.
has an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
seriously, I mean, we've all worked before real estate, or most of us, right, had worked yeah, you did too, Ethan, as young as you are, right?
Yeah.
You know, we've all worked before, but like, it's like you get paid X number of dollars per hour or X number of dollars per year.
We have great
We have an
opportunity to.
opportunity to, you know, with our license and, you know what I mean, like, and even like, so you're not a real estate agent, but you've got the opportunity of profit share, right? And that, like that ongoing, you know, wealth building right there that other people just don't have that.
I think a lot of people, you know, they have that one income. They
Mhm.
have that one income, and it's always going to be that same income.
Yeah.
We have to work for it. We have the opportunity to, okay, list one more house,
Yeah.
work with one more buyer.
Bring
But
one
this
more person
company-
into the company.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
changes mindsets too, though. I'm not commission based. I can't do just one more deal to have more income.
Right.
And my parents never raised me thinking about wealth. You go to work, you pay your bills,
Right.
routine, right?
Yeah.
But since joining this company, my mindset has 180'd. Like Alex and I just have our first investment property, which like both of our parents think we're crazy for.
Right.
My
Yeah.
grandfather, my
Which means
grandfather's
going
like
back.
ready to bury me. He's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Why do you have two mortgages?
That's
Right?
school.
Yeah.
So
And and a good,
Yeah.
and a good book on that is The Psychology of Money.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
is how you started off this by talking about how you were raised.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where we all stem from, of what we learned.
do.
Yeah.
So we have to unlearn some habits
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
behaviors, and we have to think bigger.
You know, there's some families that, you know, one partner learns one way and the
Yes.
spouse learns a different way. That's all, that's really hard. It's really hard to change their mindset because grew up in a spending family.
Yeah.
Every time we turn around, they're buying something new, or they're always,
And our profit share system is only like one Aaron Kaufman away from wealth building,
Yeah.
yes,
right?
Yeah.
You never know who's gonna join.
you never know, and it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be this office. That's what I think people don't understand. It could be any office, any KW office.
Yeah.
My first downline was in New Orleans.
Yes.
Yeah.
The girl at the perfume store.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Cashier at a perfume store. Was the
Yeah.
first person on my downline.
And so that goes back to family reunion, if anybody's thinking of coming. Family reunion is, it's an amazing event, and you learn a lot. But in addition to that is the networking that you make. The people,
Yeah,
the
those
agents that you
connections.
meet, The connections that you meet from
Mhm.
all over the world, that now you have a chance for so much referral business, so much.
And I know I
Yes.
said this in our last meeting, but like I've met people, just, you don't even try, like you just meet them.
Yeah.
And you have no idea where the conversation's gonna go. And it seems like every time I go somewhere like that, I end up with a new contact,
Yeah.
a new friend. And
Yeah.
they're sending referrals and, you know, so there's one guy that I met through Marvelous Marvin.
Yes.
Right, and so he introduced me to somebody and I helped them with a family member's house. And that was like probably 6 or 7 years ago. And it seems like almost every single year, there's somebody new coming to this area that I get, you know, that I meet as a result. of
Yeah, it's
going on,
amazing. It's
right?
amazing.
Yeah.
And don't downgrade referral fees.
Mm.
Oh my Lord. Some
Yeah.
of the money that agents are bringing in on referral fees, it's
Yeah.
not $500 anymore.
No.
Yeah.
There's thousands of dollars coming in through referral
Yeah.
money from agents across the world.
Yeah.
And our world has gotten so much smaller.
It's
So
another
many more
revenue stream.
people. It's
Mm.
another revenue stream. His phone keeps buzzing.
One of our other kids trying to find a spot to have lunch.
Yeah.
For Christmas, we're going away for Christmas, so.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
So, yeah.
One of the things I appreciate about KW is the mindset and the shift that can happen, because so many of us, like we're talking about, you know, you work an hourly job or you have a salary job, and that often will just pay the bills.
Right.
So you're living in a poverty mindset, right? Rather than an abundance mindset, which
Yes.
it totally shifts.
Totally
Right,
shifts.
and everything changes when you think, okay, so I am not capped out or limited within this role or this job. Like, what are my dreams? What are my goals? And then to be able to dream big. You know, you think, oh, that's never gonna happen. And then you can look back and go, oh, maybe
It can,
You know,
Yeah.
a little
You
bit
have
of
such
the-
great
the needs of it.
opportunity.
Yeah.
As
Oh.
realtors, you have huge opportunity. Right? But you do have to work.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, you have to make your calls and you have to be, you can't be shy about it. Everybody needs to know what you do. Everybody
Yeah.
needs to know what you do.
Well, you know who your friends are, who are doctors and who are lawyers and who are bankers and who are teachers
Right.
and who are
And put
healthcare
yourself in
providers.
that category.
Like,
I
don't know what everybody else does.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're shy to say it ourselves.
Yeah.
Your true values, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
You're helping somebody with the biggest purchase of their life, the biggest decision that they ever will make, whether to buy or sell that house.
Yeah.
You're a big deal.
What was your biggest decision deciding to marry Jerry?
My biggest decision?
Best and biggest?
That's not a very nice question.
Of course it was.
Of course it was. We didn't really
It
argue.
is best.
It was his best decision.
There you go.
Thank you for sharing. I
You're
know
welcome.
sometimes you guys don't like coming out of your shell. So
Well, you
We
pushed- you made us,
appreciate
didn't you?
We talked about your regrets. Could you end with your, like, your best advice or the thing that you would say is the one thing that was most important that you did?
I don't know if there is one thing, but we did make a decision, as no risk-taking person that I am, we decided how many years ago to buy a condo in Florida? We had the money and we would just, it was just a whim. It was like December 15th. I said, I think we should buy a condo in Florida. Jerry said, oh, okay. I said, Ally and I are gonna fly out on the 18th. We're gonna go to Dunedin because that's where I decided we're gonna buy it. And we're gonna look at some condos and that's what we're gonna do.
And we said, excuse us, you're leaving us home? Like, what is
Well,
this?
so I want to come too. And I
Yeah.
said, okay, well, we're leaving December 18th, first thing in the morning. And Jerry said, well, okay, maybe I should come too. So the four of us go and we arrived, we had to go through Toronto again. We got, anyway, we got
Yes,
in
we
there
did.
on a Saturday morning at 11. We met with the realtor at noon.
Poor agent had 3 agents he was working
Yeah,
for.
poor guy. Oh my God. Anyway, we looked at 4, 5 condos
Yeah.
because I had my circle. I knew exactly where we wanted to go and I knew we wanted to have a front door and a back door and whatever. And we looked at 4 or 5. Next day we looked at 2 for the second time. And then we flew home and we bought one.
Just like that.
Yeah, and we didn't remember what we bought.
No, we go back,
We
we
were
go
the
back.
worst-
said,
We were the
"What about
worst
this?"
realtors ever, ever. Ally, who was the realtor, had all the notes. And we were like, and okay, and it closed. We arrived the day after closing.
Mom's like,
we went in,
I
I said,
don't remember
"Melissa, I don't believe we bought this. She goes, what do you mean? I said, it has not, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. Anyway.
No front door, back door?
It did. have
It
one.
did.
But, and we hired a guy there in Florida before we got there and renovated it. He changed, whatever. I don't know why we did that.
Chased all the doors.
But it was the right thing to do. We paid $85,000 for it. It's worth $255,000.
And it's your little
And it's a
escape.
place to go.
Yeah.
So it's decorated.
And that was
it's
how long
there.
ago?
That would have been, before Ethan, so.
Yeah, probably 7 years ago.
That's a pretty good return on
Pretty
that.
good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
And now you don't have to pay for
Called-
hotels.
oh,
when
yeah,
you
it's
go
called Lake Tiffany, nice name.
Yeah, it's a cute little spot. And it's, yeah. And it's nice to just go, and it was empty for 2 years with COVID because we couldn't go. And we thought, what's gonna happen when we get there?
So I had unhooked the battery.
And we have a car there, so we
Yeah.
took a car
Her
down.
sister and her boyfriend at the time took one of our older Infinities and drove it down. They made a road trip out of it. But anyway, COVID hit, the car was there, and I had unhooked the battery, and then we get there 2 years later, the car was filthy. It's in the carport, but still, it was dirty.
The dirt was like that.
Oh,
thing
yeah.
on it.
And I said, nah, this isn't gonna work, but let's give it a try for sure. So I hooked up the battery, started right up.
Couldn't believe it.
So I took it, this, I'm off track here, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. I called a local Nissan dealer or whatever, and said, can I bring the car down? I need to get it all checked out, tire brakes, and the oil filter grease. said the tires probably are rotten or whatever. So he called me the next day or later in the day, said, yeah, your car's all ready. Down to get the car. He said, just go easy on the tires for a while, the little flat on the bottom. He said, but.
Because tires go flat, right?
do.
Yeah.
And I said, but what are you? $29.95. Okay.
$29.95.
Oh.
That would have been $800 at the dealer.
Yeah, it's funny.
Wow.
Anyway. That's good stuff.
And all we had were a few little dead geckos in place. No, it was, no, they were.
There's a lot of fine folk down there. They're everywhere.
On TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a good little spot to go, right? Because we just, the girls.
Or
will
my
go.
sister and her husband went 2 weeks ago. It was empty, just go, you know. So
Yeah.
They enjoyed it.
So you guys don't rent it out at all?
Not allowed to.
No, we're in a place that if you're gonna rent it, you have to rent it for at least 3 months.
Yeah.
And anybody who wants it for 3 months want it when we're gonna go, right? So it can be family, so
And you can leave your slippers there.
leave everything there, we don't pack, we just,
you just fly over, go.
yeah, except, well, my 2 sisters had been there before COVID. And when we came home and they were like, but my clothes are still there. I said, why did you leave your clothes in my condo? Like, really? And they said, well, I want them for the summer. I said, well, we're not going back. So
Don't tell you.
you got 2 summers without your clothes. I'm sorry. Anyway. when we
Then
finally-
at the first time we went back, we were on FaceTime with them and we're like holding things up and they're like, oh yes, bring that back, bring that back. I'm like,
They said, would you bring them home? And I said, well, that means we need to check luggage because we don't have, well, but we really need my clothes.
Cost you $65.
Right.
Yeah, funny. But we got bikes, we bought 2 bikes from a retired RCMP officer that would take the stolen bikes and we finished them.
Yeah.
But that goes back to, you didn't need to go and buy the $500 bike.
Mine
Yeah.
was-
You're only gonna be there,
Mine was $80 and yours was 60. I think.
yeah. Fancy.
Mm,
Not with that one, his basket.
Yeah, no, I need to get a basket.
Basket.
Yeah.
Well, hat.
Uh,
So those are the things, yeah, like work hard, be
Yeah.
smart, pay your bills.
Yeah.
Be nice to people. Be kind.
Yeah.
Get a lot further with kindness. And we know that with, just different realtors.
Yeah.
Right? And you get them on the other end of the line and you just want to scream and yell at them and you're just like, okay, no problem. And then of course we can't. You're allowed to do that.
Oh, we are sure that he's hung up.
Yeah, like, I
Yes,
know.
That's the biggest.
Yeah, yeah. And
There's different times I look at the phone.
Oh, my
and I'll be
God.
like,
Oh, my God.
I know.
"Okay, Todd."
Yeah, I had a friend that her sister didn't hang up once. And she was speaking to the other sister
Oh.
about, yeah, it was bad. And then she let me hear it because it recorded. It was a bad scene, so we'll always remember to hang up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
or don't pocket dial and then
Don't
talk to
build
the
it, you don't
person.
want to pay on the
Right.
phone.
Be very careful, be very careful. So we all say things in the,
Oh my
like,
gosh, yeah.
right
Yes.
afterwards to your safe zone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
So quick little story, but
Mm.
back in the day when I was selling HVAC equipment, so when I called this older lady up, she was probably, I don't know, I mean, close to 90 anyway. and she-
I thought you were gonna say 60.
No, no, that's not old anymore. So anyway, so when I was, I called her and said, I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna be a little bit late. I got, tied up with some other things. And then, and I said, so just want to make sure you're on the Peggy's Cove Road, not the, she goes, yeah, right, like I told you before, the Peggy's Cove Road, right, at this number. I said, okay, thanks. And then when she's hanging the phone up, I could hear her say, what an idiot, like this, right? And I'm like, oh, geez, I kind of felt like an idiot. And then, so I was not looking forward to the appointment, so I get there. She's the sweetest lady, right? Had a great conversation. She made cookies. I got to eat some. And then she gave me coloring books and stuff for the kids. And the phone rang just before I left. And she's talking on the phone. She's like, okay, yeah, I gotta go. And she goes, what an asshole. And it's like, I'm thinking she does that to everybody.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Oh, part of the exclusive club.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any
Thank you.
questions? Any questions online? Right.
He's quiet.
Thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're always available. If anybody has anything, any questions, or you want to run something by us, we're a very open book. We are an open book, aren't we, Melissa?
Yes.
Anything, if you're running against something and you need to chat something through, we're always around. Yeah. Even when we're not home, we're always on. We always have our phones. Yeah,
Yes.
That's right. You gotta answer your phone. That's Jerry used to say that.
Yes.
Realtors, answer your phone.
$10,000 phone call.
Answer your
If you
phone.
answer your
Yeah.
phone, you're gonna have a chance of getting a job. And if you show up,
Yeah.
you probably will get a job, but somebody else won't show up.
I mean, and especially in this email and text time, they get a live person on the other end of the phone.
They're
Don't
shocked.
you feel good when somebody answers the phone and you call?
Yeah.
You get to talk to a real person. It's a huge difference. I called, we had the trip booked for Greece in September, and then the Jerry met his new friend McCain, and we had to get a hip replacement, so I canceled. And so I thought, okay, we got a little bit back from the tour company, but the rest, I bought it on TD. So I thought we should get that back, because TD travel. So now we're 3 months in? Still haven't seen it. So I called the TD Global yesterday, and the guy answered, and I went, oh my gosh, he answered the phone, this is so awesome. And he was so nice, he said, look, I'll look into this, he said, I'll have an answer for you for next week. And we might get this back after all. We should.
Did he actually call you back next week?
No, I haven't heard from him yet,
Yeah.
but I'm still,
I will never use TV again. I don't care how cheap. it is.
really,
No.
oh, nasty, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, so we shall see.
Yeah,
I'll fill you in.
we don't have any accounts, they're just a credit card. Just-
Yeah.
We'll see, we'll see.
Never-
Yeah.
And that's another thing about being nice. That's why Jerry gets hip replacement so fast. We're so nice to the surgeon.
Hey,
Plus
thank you,
plus
thank
he lived in,
Yeah.
plus he liked the bottle
I
of
could- I
Roberts.
could- I have a bottle of computer around.
Yeah.
Well, no, after he did the surgery.
I was just gonna
say,
We didn't take-
Not before.
No, he said
Go,
that to me. I can't take that in early. Well, but I can take it in now. And I just put it in my purse. And I said, hope you don't mind. And he's, oh, and then when we went in the other day, he says, thank you so much for that rod. He says, no, we did it at Christmas.
Nice guy.
Right, great. But it all worked. The ship was already done, so we didn't run.
Yeah, that was good. We were all set to head to Montreal to get it done, actually.
Yeah.
And this just miraculous that this happened.
We're very lucky.